there's this whole saying about just show up, right? Just
Yeah.
show up. And that goes for a lot of things, right? I mean, yeah, you see, he just did this
Yeah.
because whatever you're doing, bodybuilding or whatever, sports, all this different stuff, like what's your purpose behind it, right? Like, what is your intention behind that? What are you trying to get from it, right? And then just showing up, how many people just show up and they just look the same for years, right? Like, you have to put in a certain amount of work. You have to do certain things to get results, right?
Yep.
From zero when you start and to get to a certain level, you could do that without a whole lot of work just because
Newbie
yeah,
gains.
you're going to be new at it, your body's going to respond. Then there's that point where it's like, okay, now it takes work. Now you're going to have to really think about things and really put the work in to
Hmm.
improve, right? And that could be for sports too, right? A lot of people will get to that, almost to that intermediate level in sports, and then they get stuck there. They kind of just stay there,
Yep.
right? Because they can't, to
Progress past
get
that
past that
threshold. Yep.
intermediate level, or even just to get to the from the lower beginner or middle beginner level to the intermediate level, it's hard.
Yep.
Like, there's things you got to do, and it's not just a casual going once or twice a week to get there. Are they really trying? Like, are they really trying to improve, or are they just coming in with the mentality of, I'm showing up, hey, I made it, I went there 3 days this week, like, how many people, and then they feel like that's a win. Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Paradise Pump. And what do we got on the table today? Well, I think
Nothing's on the table.
Our cell
nothing.
phones on
My
the
phone.
table.
We are think it's just like, being a gym owner or running your own personal training business, things like that. I think
Professionalism.
professional, yeah. I think a lot of people don't know, or some people want to do it, think what to do, or some people think that, maybe they think it's like real simple, real easy to do. And there's a lot to it.
So to begin with, we already know that you are a gym owner, hence this place and Paradise Pump. What compelled you to want to open a gym to begin with?
I think there was like two things. It wasn't just one. One, I didn't want to work for anybody anymore. Like, that was probably the big one.
That's
I
fair.
just really just didn't work for anybody. And then two, I wanted to do something that I really enjoyed. So it kind of went hand in hand. I loved working out, and I didn't want to work with anybody. I didn't want to work for anybody. So I was like, oh, gym, have a gym. Kind of can knock out two birds with one stone. So yeah, that's why. That's the main reasons.
Okay, knowing that you wanted a gym because you didn't want to work for nobody else, so you ought to work for yourself, and you loved working out, you love being around an environment, might as well open up a gym.
Yeah.
So when you did open it up, um, were you in over your head on it, or did you know what you're getting into? Were you like bit off more than you can chew? Were you like, holy shit, what did I just do?
No, no, because actually, when I first started, I didn't even think of a gym necessarily. I was thinking of, oh, like a studio for personal training. Like,
Okay.
I thought, oh, because that's small, right? So in my mind, I figured I could handle that. Studio, have my equipment, smaller studio equipment, personal training, one on one, maybe get another one or two other trainers in there, possibly to help kind of cover rent. That was it. Like, that's what I thought. And I thought I would just be training clients. And that would be the money, right? The money is going to be from one on one training, basically, or maybe group training, whatever.
And at that time, were you also thinking of having the gym open to public for as far as, like a membership style?
No,
No, not at all. Just
no. So
100% personal
yes.
training.
So like the first, I want to say almost like the first shoots, like year and a half, 2 years maybe that I started, I wasn't thinking that. I wasn't thinking, oh, open for public, getting memberships. Like, I really wasn't thinking that. I was just thinking personal training, maybe have, one or two other trainers in here, and that was it. That's kind of how I thought of it. And then what happened was, it just as I was able to get a bigger space and I realized, oh man, I need to make more money, because I was
Yeah.
like, oh, the rent's more. This is a bigger space. It's not a studio. How am I going to get more money? And I was like, well, I need to get memberships. Like that's so it just kind of evolved.
So out of curiosity, not to cut you off, knowing that, you kind of have to match the numbers and the facts and figures and everything like that. Um, do you have any type of business background, or are you like, oh fuck, this is what I gotta do now? You kind of
Yeah.
just
So
winged it.
yeah. I didn't go to school for business management or nothing like that. And I never ran a business before. I was ex-military, you know, bouncer back in the day, personal trainer, things like that, right? So I don't have a business background at all. But well, my thing was like, I said, okay, all I gotta know is pay taxes. Like I like knew that,
Make enough to cover
yeah,
overhead
like
and enough to pay
right. Well, I
taxes.
just knew like, okay, you get an account, you get a business account, and then you do your books based off of that, right? How much money is getting deposited, how much money is coming in, and then have expenses, right? You can write those expenses off and make sure that you're paying your GE taxes and whatever taxes at the end of the year, your like federal taxes and everything. So just keep track of how much money you have coming in. Like, I mean, it was kind of simple the way that I thought of it. And I did look up a few things. I watched a couple of videos and I had a friend or two kind of that I talked to that I wouldn't say they were businessmen, but they kind of knew how to run a business. So I got advice from them.
Okay.
Um, so super simple. I just went very simple with it. And then as I went along, I learned more, but I was constantly learning. And that was the biggest stress was actually like understanding all that stuff. Like, you know, managing your books, managing the numbers, the money, like all that, because for me, training was easy. And so I just had to make sure everything was getting paid, all the bills were getting paid, and I kept up with all my numbers. So
Okay. So not having a business background, you basically winged it. So when you
yeah.
started to on
Yeah. Pretty much.
YOLO, when
Pretty
you
much.
started to onboard trainers here, were they like subcontracted or
Yeah.
self-contracted here?
Yeah.
So
That's how I did it. Yeah. I didn't want to have employees
yeah, yeah.
because I mean I didn't even know how to do that anyway. I was like, I had to hire somebody for like payroll and all
Yeah.
that. I was like, I'm not making I at the time I was just like, I'm not making enough money to do all this, like it was still pretty basic. So I was like, you know what? Having trainers here, they can pay a rent fee or pay a membership fee or whatever, like was to me just made sense, you
How did
know.
you learn business etiquette? Because I mean, I've seen you through the years, and then there was certain certain individuals you kind of went co-partnering with in certain
Mm,
spaces of your
mm,
place here. So as far as being a business owner
yeah.
and dealing with that, knowing that you're the main dude, and you kind of did have some people under you, rented some space or shared some space
Yeah.
together and stuff. How'd you deal with their personalities when it just didn't work out between you guys?
Um, well, I think that's one thing that I've always had in me was being able to deal with people like one on one. I'm pretty good like that. Pretty patient.
Up front.
Yeah, just honest. I mean, that's my thing, right? I just try to be honest, and if that other person is the same, we get along great. Unfortunately, ran into a bunch of people that weren't that honest, and still kind of have them around, and and so it's kind of an issue, right? And yeah, that's to me, if you're not honest with me, that's a huge problem. Um,
Jed must be a good guy here. He's a permanent
he
fixture in
is,
this place.
yeah, he is. Well, because
He's like
I
security
mean,
here.
let's be honest, right? No, he's the guy up front. Let's be honest though, like if you have to be able to trust the people
Yes.
that are close to you, right?
Yep.
Like, and so that trust to me is comes from them being honest, right?
Mm-hmm.
and you see it over time. They build trust, right?
Yeah.
Over time, they build trust, and then you're like, okay, yeah, this person, because I don't want to have to worry
Yeah.
about like always watching, like, okay, are they doing something? What are they doing? Because there are people here. There's one person here still that you got to look out for. Like, why do I
There's
have to
always
look
that
out for
one
you?
freaking loose
Yeah, why do I
screw.
have to look out for you,
Yeah.
dude? Like, what's the problem? And then it's a million excuses. That's another thing. Like, don't give me excuses. Just be honest with me. And it's that same, right? Don't give me excuses, give me results. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
but that's it. I mean, it's just like, it's not even a, like, I don't need to hear the whole story.
Yeah.
Just either you're going to be honest and you're going to tell me, hey, I completely screwed up. Okay, cool. That's cool. Or, hey man, this isn't working out, whatever. You're gonna tell me straight up, I
What's
don't like
yeah.
this. Like, just be honest with me.
What's
That's it.
hard is you build a friendship where or a great rapport with these people that you empathize or sympathize with,
Yeah.
however you want. And they screw up. But there's in such a, I just want to say, destitute of a situation that they
Yeah.
can't dig themselves out
Hmm.
of. And sometimes tough love is,
Sometimes it is, and you know what it is, and this is it could be a fault of mine, but I try to treat everybody like they're grown adults. Okay, yeah, and you see, you laugh.
yes.
I really do. Like, you're a grown adult. I shouldn't have to remind you, micromanage you. Like, I'm
Hmm.
not your parent. I I don't like that. So, like, to me, you should know. I mean, and
Yeah.
if you don't know, then you can ask me, right?
Yeah.
If you have questions, then I'll gladly, help you. But I feel like I shouldn't have to hold your hand the whole way through things. Like,
Hmm.
you're an adult. You know better. You know right from wrong. You know what you should be
Yeah.
doing, what you shouldn't be doing. And if you're doing the wrong thing, well, to me, I mean, I'm like, you're either an idiot or you're just a freaking thief, right? I don't
Yeah.
know. Or maybe you're both. I
Fucking
don't know which one
dickhead.
it is, right?
Dickhead. Dickhead.
Or I mean, maybe you're just a dickhead, right?
So,
Or you
like,
just don't care.
as far as
See?
management of the place and the people that you have coming through here, um, I know there's a lot of different personalities that come through,
Yeah,
and everybody, we're all grown ass adults, and
right.
this is a great gym where you can independently do a lot. You allow them to do video either,
Yeah.
or train with their buddies and not be like, hey, you're not supposed to be whatever, right? You don't get down on people and stuff like that. But as far as members cleaning up after themselves, wiping the equipment down, putting the weights away, how many warnings do you actually give them? Because you got video cameras all over the place. I know you're infamous for being like, the mystery
Yeah, the gym mysteries. Yeah, I
gym
was doing that
mysteries.
before. Um, you know what? It's interesting. And so this kind of goes back to what we said earlier, right? Okay. It's never a lot of people. It's usually the same people.
Yeah, okay.
It's usually this one, two, three of the same people that do the same things. It's always like that. It's never
Leaving their drinks on the
whatever,
ground,
leaving their drinks
not
or
wiping
not
after
putting it right,
themselves,
just
not
whatever it
putting
may
the weights
be,
away,
whatever. It's the same
being
people.
a douchebag to other
It's interesting. Yeah.
members.
It's interesting. And then when you do correct them, it's always, oh my God, I did that. Oh yeah. Oh, and it's
Yeah.
never like, yeah, I did that. So what?
So how
It's
many breaks
it's
do you give them
too many.
before you tell them, you got
I
to get out of
usually
here?
get, well, or I mean, I've never had to kick anybody out because of that. It's never gotten to that point. Um, Usually what happens is if I get pretty upset or annoyed, they kind of know it. And then the behavior stops for a while. And then maybe it might start up again later, maybe months later or something.
Hmm.
But it usually stops for like a while. But that kind of falls back on me, right? Because I'm giving people chances, like I'm just okay. But here's the thing. Here's the thing that I do look at is I look at my gym as a whole and I go, okay, on average, 98% of the time, the gym is perfect.
Hmm.
So if you compare it to any other gym,
Yeah.
98% of the time the gym is perfect. That's outstanding numbers.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you're not going to find that.
Hmm.
So I can't expect. I can't. I would like to be 100%, but I can't expect it to be 100, right? Even if I was 95% of the time, that's phenomenal.
You know, it's
It's
super cool. This is like a very homey gym or what have you.
yeah,
The members, I see it. I go to a lot of gyms around the island and observe a lot. Um, yeah, you pay for your membership and you have certain expectations of a gym, but the people here I notice they do a very good job of like really taking care of the place, the equipment, the other
yeah.
people around here. I mean, what I was here just I don't know the other day, and like one of your members saw the trash in the bathroom full, so he went ahead and took the liberty, his own initiative and liberty to take out the trash. I mean,
Yeah.
you didn't have to ask him. It was just like, oh shit, it's full. Okay, and he went ahead and take care of it. Like, who else does that? You know, and what gym would you see another gym member help? You know, take care of the place. I don't see that very
Yeah,
frequently.
I think that probably stems from the fact that, I know most of these members
Yeah,
and they know like, oh yeah, like this isn't a corporate owned gym,
yeah,
like they know like I own it. They know, okay, this is a small gym.
yep.
And then I think a lot of them feel like, wow, this is my house too. Like
Yeah.
this is my home
And
now.
it's super awesome when like, you know, the dryer machine is done and the all the towels are
Oh
on
yeah.
the table. Like people
Start
gather
folding.
around and they
Yeah.
start folding, you know? It's like you don't have to tell them like, "Hey, you know?" I think that's super
Yeah.
awesome that people pitch in and treat this like their own home as well too.
Yeah, because I think people respect it, right? They respect the gym, they respect the equipment, and I think it all really it starts with me, right? Like,
Yeah.
because I set the standard of like, hey, like take care of everything, re-rack your weights,
Mhm.
keep it clean, like, and then they go, hey, this is yeah, okay, I like this.
While we're on the subject of this gym, just to let you guys know, this is a very kid-friendly, pet-friendly gym. Lots of dogs come through. I never seen cats or parrots or anything like
No,
that.
no, we never had cats or parrots, but
I mean,
dogs.
if they were tame, if they're tame and you know they're very social animals as far as dogs or kids, if they're
Yeah,
social and they're self-contained and they mind their own damn business and you know,
because kids. A lot of times the people bring their kids in there. A lot of them are like 7, 8 years old, whatever, maybe a little older. And we have a little desk, little table area out there. They kind of sit down and play on their phones or whatever. And like there is a thing with the kids. Like I've always said, hey, you can have your kid, just make sure that your kid is safe, right?
yeah.
I don't need. That's the thing. Again, you see, that falls back on me, right? I'm saying, hey, make sure your kid's safe. And I've unfortunately I've seen it, like you give people an inch, they
Take
take a
a
mile,
mile.
right?
Yeah.
And what I'm saying safe, like most adults know what safe is.
Hmm.
And if the kid's getting out of control and you can't control it as an adult, as a parent, well, then you kid can't come here.
Yeah, exactly. And that's respectable because that's a lawsuit waiting to happen.
Oh,
I
100%.
hate to say
Well,
that,
and
but it
and this
is.
is the funny thing about that. So being an owner, right?
Yeah.
You'll hear it. Oh, I would never sue you. Oh, don't worry. If a dumbbell fell on on my son's foot, I would never do that. Oh, okay. You say that now,
Wait till the
but
hospital bills
when the
come.
bills come in, yeah, and your son's foot is jacked, you don't think you're going to be having a problem with it?
Oh yeah.
Even though I was being the nice guy, I was saying, sure, your kid can come in the gym. Sure, you can hang out. Like,
And as far as respect to you, like I don't have children. I brought my nieces here a couple of times.
yeah.
They're
Well, they're
very
older.
respectable. They're a little older,
Yeah.
but like it's I think it should be common sense as far as a parent. If your kid's like running around hanging on the equipment
Yeah.
and you know probable for injury just waiting to happen,
Oh yeah.
wouldn't you condemn your child and be like and give them the eye or something? You know, I don't
Well,
know what people
control them a little
control
bit,
them, right?
right? I mean, like calm them down. So again,
You know, for the most that I've seen my own personal experience coming through here, the kids that do come here, they're very respectable. Um,
they
we're
are.
in a generation of iPads and you know whatever, so they just kind of just sit in front of their screen, do their thing. Some of the kids I see them doing their homework, you
Mm.
know, and some of the other kids they're impersonating their parents or their parents. Their parents are trying to help them, you know, just get them
Yeah.
motivated to lift weights too. So I think it's a very conducive environment for kids, just as long as they're respected you know,
Yeah.
respectful of other people's space and things.
No, that's it. That's right. That's but it all comes to the parent, right? You know, let's be
Yeah.
honest.
Or
The
same goes
parent,
with the dogs
you
that
know,
come through here as well
yeah.
too.
And again, I mean, I just like I said, all these people that are signing up here, they're all adults, common sense. I mean, you should know, like, like respect the space and just be like chill. And so that's been my motto. That's how I've always been. I'm more like kind of a relaxed type of person, like I'm not trying to micromanage things. I've never liked that style. Um, and being in the military, coming from the military, like I know how that is to be micromanaged or to be, like in a more of a strict environment. I've been through it. So
Do
and
you
it
think
works, but I
it
do a
does?
different style.
Yeah. I mean, I lots of places, yeah, you could always run a tighter ship, but then there's a
Yeah,
common give and take, like a nice boundary or
yeah.
like a balance that, you could always have. But I mean, it's doing well so far.
I mean, it has been working. It's been working well. Like I said, though, sometimes, sometimes being too nice or allowing too much can sometimes bite you in the ass. So you just got to be careful when you're as a gym owner, when you're running a gym.
So is there anything that you would do differently if you had to start all over again with the same resources that you have now?
Well, if I was to start over again, I mean, yeah, I would have definitely kept it at the beginning, especially 100% only me. I wouldn't have let anybody else come in here or bring equipment in here or anything. I would have just done only me. I would have had trainers, of course, and they could train their clients, but the gym itself, all me, only my equipment, like that's it. Yeah. Because, there, I think it's interesting. Like, I don't know if you call it power tripping or what, but when, like I said, I mean, you give somebody an inch, they like to take a mile, and you're the owner of the gym, and if you have somebody else in here, maybe they want to bring their equipment, and hey, I'll bring my equipment in here. Doesn't It's like you have to really make sure that that line is
Yep.
defined,
Yep.
and especially if it's somebody who's a friend or something, there's like personal feelings involved, so it definitely causes issues,
Yeah, I
and
could see
I
that.
learned that,
I
yeah,
mean, definitely you see it all the time. Business partnerships they
yeah,
they don't they don't do very well a lot oftentimes unless you guys have that very clear cut and concise, line.
yes.
Um and a lot of people like we live in Hawaii. It's hard to be like, all right, bro, let's put this on paper. And they're like, nah, don't worry, I wouldn't
I
do
know.
that to you. Yeah, you just did.
Mhm. Exactly,
No, we'll put it on
exactly.
paper. They're like, nah, no need, no need. We don't have to go through the legal, save money. And no, I'd
Mhm.
rather spend the money in the beginning so we can save money in the end.
Yes. Well, and then it's just like, well, hey, you remember, read that.
Yeah,
You sign, like, you don't have to argue about it, right? You're not
yeah,
fighting about what you said, what I said. It's just, hey, we agreed. Here
yeah,
we go. That's it. Like,
yeah,
then, feelings are gonna get hurt.
yep,
It's the way it is.
yep.
But yeah. So, and you can outgrow somebody or a partnership,
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
two personalities are going to be different, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's probably the one thing that I would change is
But in
just
Hawaii, you find people trying to partner up because the cost of living and cost of everything is so astronomical here. It does
yes.
make it a little bit easier. So, combined funds, it might be a little bit more, you might have more cushion. But at the same time, yeah, in the long run, you're like, ah, shit, maybe I should have done this by myself.
No, yeah. I mean, but that's part of it, right? I feel like it's always easier to have that security blanket, that other person, right? Like, okay, I've got another person with me now. Okay, like they can help, right? You know what
Yep.
I mean? There's more risk of being like, I'm out here by myself. Like, I got to keep this thing going by myself. So, but I think I know I would have been fine doing it by
Yeah.
myself. Like, I would have been
Yeah.
fine.
Or even if it was a business partner, I could see like the silent business partner where you would have an
Right.
investor. Sure.
That's different.
Yeah, very different.
Yeah.
But as far as a partner, yeah, it gets very sticky.
It does. And it can get it can. So yeah. So
Oh, I do have a question for you. Going back on the thing about management and then members that do come through. I know you're super nice and you're pretty like upfront and you're really good about talking to a person without being around the bush. Um, so how do you deal with clients that are, or like not clients, but members that are kind of like irate or just bad business?
you know, I never really had to. I mean, I'm just trying to think. At least I've never had it in front of me. Like I've never really had someone standing in front of me having this issue, like and talking in front of me. I never really did. I mean, and most of the time, I mean, there's probably been little incidents here and there, but really minor, and it's usually just gets squashed quickly. And then most of the time, the people they just leave. They're like, "Ah, I'm not gonna train you anymore. Okay, cool, that's it. Um, yeah, I never really had to my face, yeah, have
Okay.
issues like that.
You ever run into an instance, I don't know, I'm just throwing it out there like for real. Somebody come in on on a day pass, kind
Uh,
of use the place. Maybe it was a busy day
yep.
that day, and they ended up not having a good experience. So they were like, ah, fuck, I don't know if I like this place, and ask you for a refund or give you like a bad review.
I never had anybody ask for a refund. I have gotten a few reviews, a couple of them, like two, I guess, really two. But again, like you were saying, that person's having a bad day. I don't know. That's not really my problem, right?
Like what where I'm not trying to highlight that part, but if the odds are like a 98% to, and then you have this one oddball,
Uh,
freaking bad apple. I
yeah,
mean, were
yeah.
they?
It's weird because like I said, for like the most part, I never really have issues with people. And it's usually taken care of. If somebody maybe had some issue or something, it was usually minor and it was like taken care of. And they were just like cool about it. They were like, okay, cool. Like it wasn't lingering. Like I said, I did have these one guys, it was a few years ago. Remember those guys? They were from Oklahoma or something. And
Oh
then
shit! What were they
they were like
complaining about?
21 or they played football or something
What were they? What was it they complained about? I can't
and they go
remember.
like he wrote this review like,
He
oh,
say you were an asshole or
the
something.
owner micromanages everything. He stands there
What?
in the front and nitpicks your whole workout. The funny thing is when people write reviews, I think it's very interesting how convenient it is that they leave out so much
Yeah,
information and then they're telling it from their perspective of all the stuff that made them upset. Yet they left out the information that the guy had been here. That was like his second day or third day, and he was slamming weights the day before, and he was moving weights around, like taking it from one tree, putting it to the other tree. Like left all that out. You know what I mean? Like stuff that already happened, right? So now I'm watching you now because, yeah, I'm going to watch you and I will nitpick you if you're breaking my shit. You know
yep,
what I
yep,
mean? Like if you're doing stuff that you're not putting your weights away the way you're supposed to be, right? Like, hey, I told you where to put them. It's so simple. If you get the weights
hold on just a
off of
second.
this tree,
Just so preference this, the way that Mark has his gym set up, the equipment that you need, there's the weight tree right next to it. You don't need to go all the way across to the other end of the
yeah,
gym and move shit around.
I
and
mean, some of the
all
plates are even marked, so you
yeah,
know where
And
they
they're
go.
they're
marked.
marked,
Yeah.
and all the machines have plates
It's
on them.
plate. Yeah.
Have plates on them, so you don't even have to walk around. I've seen people literally walk like down three machines to grab a plate to put it on the machine that they were using, and then I go, "Oh, is there a reason why you're using that plate? Did you like that plate better?" And they're like, "Oh no, I just grabbed it." And I go, "Well, this machine has plates right there," and they go, "Oh yeah, okay." And I'm like, it's almost like they're so trained
Yeah.
to make it inconvenient for themselves that they go walking around the
Yeah.
gym grabbing plates when it's right there.
Yeah.
Like it's a trip. If I watch it, I'm like, that's so weird. Um,
Okay. Sorry for cutting you
no,
off.
but
Back
it's
to the
fine.
story.
But pretty much, yeah, that's what happened. I mean, the guy came in. I had already known from the day before that he was doing some stuff, slamming some weights, just doing random stuff. And people had complained to me. That's how I knew about it. I wasn't like I was sitting there watching him. I had other people tell me. So he came in, he started doing the same stuff again, right? So he's over there, he's using, different, like he's using this ball, but he's not using the slam ball, he's using this other ball and he's really slamming it. I'm like, dude, can you use the other ball? And then he's over there slamming, dropping weights, doing cleans or whatever. And I'm like, okay, can you not slam the weights on the ground? Like,
Yeah, we have a platform.
I do a platform. Yeah, if you want to go over there, put somebody was on it, I guess. And it just became a thing. He just, I guess, funny thing is, he didn't say anything to me while he was here. Didn't say anything. You could tell maybe he was bothered, but he didn't say anything. Then when he left, he went and write this review about it, and I was like, oh, how funny. He had all the opportunity in the world to talk to me. I was right there. Didn't want to say nothing to me till he got home, and then
Keyboard
keyboard warrior
warrior.
all day long. Yeah. And I was like, okay. So, and I did respond to his review, but it was actually funny. If you go on Google reviews, you'll probably see it. You can't miss it. But anyway, so yeah, so that was probably the one time, that I had this bad review about me personally and this gym. So, I mean,
Speaking of this gym and members here, because a lot of people call this their home gym, they make, friends of friends, and it just becomes a smaller, closer, tighter network of people
yeah.
in the space. So how do you deal with like gym drama? You see it.
Oh yeah. I think it's not just gym drama, right? It's just drama in
It's
general, right?
just drama,
If you
but
get
since it's
people,
here,
yeah. If you get a group of people together, there's going to be some type of drama, right? People, just, that's how it is. Um, for like the most part, I don't know. I feel like this gym doesn't really have drama, to be honest. It really doesn't. Sure, there's people that probably don't get along with other people
yeah,
that come here and
yeah,
they work out in the same
yeah,
space, but they just don't talk to each other.
yeah.
They just come here, they work out, they
Do their
don't talk to
thing,
each other, and that's it. And they just, yeah, they go about their day like they don't know each other, which is
right?
like, okay, whatever, that works for them. Because there's not really like gossip or drama in here. There really isn't, honestly. And most of the time, if something is being said, it's usually out there. Like it's not like it's being said and it's hidden behind people. Like
Or like,
it gets out pretty fast.
or do you see like one member being acting some type of way to another member, you know?
Member wise, every once in a while, a member might be like, oh man, this person, they may complain about another member. That happens. It doesn't happen that often, but I've had that happen here and there, and so I kind of like sometimes I have to watch that other person. And it's funny because once I got eyes on that person, like once I kind of start looking, it's almost like they kind of know,
Yeah, yeah.
like, oh, Mark's looking, like Mark, oh, maybe somebody said something. You know what I mean? Like it's interesting how that works, and then they usually stop. I don't haven't really had to confront too many people. I have talked to people before about certain things, but most time it's nothing that serious. It's not that big of a deal.
It gets squashed pretty quick
It
when
does.
something
No, it
bad.
does get squashed
Yeah.
fast. Again, like I said, could- people, I don't know, like, people say that there's drama or there's gossip, but it's like, no, it's not really, because to me, gossip is just people sitting there talking like "Chat,
Yeah.
chat, 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 chat," and nothing's happening.
Yeah.
No, in here, if there's an issue
It
and,
gets
and I'm going,
confronted.
"Chat, chat, 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 chat," you find out about it the next day.
Yeah.
That's not gossip.
Yeah.
That's like,
Yeah, that's right. It gets confronted
yeah,
very
it gets
quickly.
it gets confronting. You're gonna find out
Yeah.
quick. You're not gonna be like 2 months in going, I had no idea that they were talking about me. Like, no, no,
Yeah.
no, no, no. You know pretty fast, like, oh, there's an issue and people are talking about you. Like,
Yeah.
so that's not gossip. Hmm, You
Yeah.
know, that's that's like, hey, it's out there. And so yeah, and it's also not really drama because I don't know. People will say drama, but it's like, is it drama or is it's just human beings being human beings? I think drama is like unresolved issues that
Yeah.
just continue and continue and continue. and it just creates turmoil within the space. That doesn't happen here.
I do have a question, not just being a gym owner, but a personal trainer.
Yeah.
And like when you have a client, say, I mean, and there was no rift, there was no falling out, no nothing, but maybe your style didn't work well. And then amongst this gym, that client still wants to be a member here,
Hmm.
but sought out Jed or
Yeah.
another trainer. Like, do you have hurt feelings about that? Or are you like, oh, you fucking bitch? Or
No, because I've trained Jed's clients and
Yeah.
he's trained mine.
yeah,
Yeah.
Actually, I've had some of his clients come up to me, like left him and was just like, "Hey, can I train with you?" And I said, "Oh yeah, if Jed's cool, yeah, sure." And
Yeah.
he's just like, "Yeah, whatever." And then I've literally had my clients too who are like, "Oh, hey, you don't mind if I train with Jed? You know, whatever." I'm like, "Oh, go ahead." And he's like, "Okay, cool." Like we've switched clients.
yeah,
I don't
no
get
hurt
butthurt.
feelings.
I won't actually have hard feelings. I think the only time that maybe it would affect me is if that person wasn't being honest with me.
Yeah, okay.
If they said, "Oh, I just want a different perspective," but maybe it was something that I was doing and they didn't tell me. See, that I would be a little upset about. I'd be like, "Whoa, you should have just told me." Like, if I was
Or
doing something you didn't like it.
or you see it a lot as well too. A lot of the people, I'm not just saying here in Iron Hawaiian Fitness, but they may be working with one coach and then the other coach, they have all these clients that are winning
Yeah.
and they jump
Whoa.
they jump coaches because they think that's the winning coach.
Yes.
Like, do
Yes.
you get a little offended, like, or you're like, okay, good luck on your
Pretty
journey.
much. I'm just like, good luck because I don't know. I mean, I think I think everybody has every right to switch, to try different things, to try different coaches. Why not? I don't think that there's anything wrong if somebody wants to try something different, have at it. You know what I mean? They have that right to do that. Like I said, now if they're doing it because of something that I did or I didn't
Or didn't
do,
do, yeah,
then that could be a problem, right? Like, and
yeah.
then I would have an issue with that because I would want to know, like, hey, what can I do to improve? You know,
No,
like,
I've seen instances in some coach client dynamics where the client just did a no show, no call, no text, no nothing, and kind of like didn't do check-ins with you, kind of just faded out.
mm,
And then next thing you know, they're like, "Oh yeah, my coach," and then they're blasting up a new coach on social media.
yeah,
So here's my thing on that. Because I've had that happen to me too. Just tell them you want to go somewhere else. Like, man up. I don't like it
yeah,
when people do that stuff, but they're afraid to tell, like,
mhm,
hey, I want to try another trainer, another perspective. They just go, or and they don't. And then if you feel like, let's say you're doing a contest and like it's over and you haven't agreed to do anything after, and you go somewhere, that's different. But when you just like stop not showing up and you go somewhere else, like, dude, you need to man up and confront and talk about it. At least let them know, like, give the courtesy. I don't think that's right.
yeah. Because funny, this funny parallel, but like I've seen it with people dating, you know, like you're like not quite serious relationship, but you're dating somebody, and then like it's not working out for them, so they kind of like you don't hear from them as much, and then all of a sudden they're on a dating app, right? And you're like, wait, oh, that's weird, you know, like, and you thought you guys were like kind of being exclusive,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
you didn't
hitting
realize
it
it,
off.
but they were like pulling away. They didn't want to tell you, right? They didn't know how to tell you or whatever. And then all of a sudden you're just like, whoa, okay, that's weird. So yeah, um, I had to just be honest, you know, like don't ghost people out like that or just be
Or
weird. Just
yeah,
be
I
honest.
mean,
Just be honest.
it might
Just be
not.
straight up.
How do you, so you're helping people with their diet, their nutrition, whatever it may be for a lifestyle or a show,
Yeah,
and they're not making changes. You don't know how to help them because they're not even checking in with you. And then of course it's, you know how it is. It's always the coach's fault, right?
right. Right. Well, I mean, somebody has to get blamed. So I mean,
Frick.
somebody's gonna get blamed, right? And it's gonna be the coach. I mean,
Right.
honestly,
You're not checking in with me. I can't help you.
right.
Like, help me help you.
Yes, yes, it is gonna be the
And
coach.
then
Let's be
oh
honest.
yeah, Mel was a junk coach, so I ended up with Coach X or whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
If you have, if you're a trainer and you have multiple testimonies and transformations and stuff posted, and one or two people are talking shit most of the people from the outside looking in are going to know it's those two people
Hmm.
and not the
Hmm.
trainer.
Hmm. Yeah.
So that's
Yeah. And again, yeah, I try not to take that personal like stuff, when people say, unless I know, like, oh man, I wasn't doing my job, like, like, because you would know, right? Inside you're like, yeah, I didn't pay attention to this person enough, or I wasn't, checking in with them, or I wasn't doing things I should have done as a coach. It's like, yeah, it was kind of my fault. Like, because it happens sometimes too, right? Maybe you should have paid more attention. Maybe that person was wanting more attention and you should have given them, and you thought what you were doing was good. And maybe they were asking it, but you didn't give it to them. So,
As far as a coach, when do you step away and just be like, what we're doing is not working.
mm,
Um, we need help, or you need to go seek another coach or whatever it might be.
I won't usually do that unless that person is unless they've been complaining about something and I've tried many different things and they're still complaining, then I'll say something. If they're not complaining about anything and we're moving along and they're not saying anything about it, then I'll just keep it. You know what I mean? I'll keep going. Even if there's like a struggle and we're having a hard time, I'll still keep trying. You know what I mean? But if the person is just like starts complaining a lot or is just not very happy with it and it just continues, then I might be like, hey, yeah, I don't know. I don't think this is gonna work.
I mean,
Like,
I see it in so many different spectrums as well too. I don't know how you feel about it, but um coach and client relationships, like sometimes they do very well together. They become like freaking, the dynamic duo, whatever.
yeah,
The
yeah, of course.
or sometimes the coach and client relationship goes the complete opposite too, and they end up like oil and water.
Oh yeah,
you
well,
know
that happens too.
how do you feel about those?
That happens too. Um, I don't know. I mean, I don't think you necessarily, if you're doing a show, and it depends on what type of show, what level you're at, you don't always necessarily have to like completely like get along with your coach 100%. Like I feel like, say you're at a higher level and this person can help you, sometimes you just gotta suck it up, and be like, okay, well, this person's gonna help me. Their coaching style is what I need, even though maybe personality wise,
No, I'm talking about like coach and client relationships, like
okay.
lovers.
Oh, like relate. Oh, like that.
Yeah, I see coach
Okay.
client relationships and they thrive. They're like, yeah, like the dynamic duo.
Mm,
And then
okay.
others, you're just like, oh, damn. Yeah, that happened.
Well, my thought on that, I'm not a huge fan of that, to be honest. Like, oh no, I'm not. Like, you're a coach, you're training somebody, and then that turns into a relationship. Not gonna knock it. I'm just saying I'm not a huge fan of it because I think now, unfortunately, for the person who ended up dating that coach, those dynamics are gonna change
Yeah,
now. So now, if that person is still trying to compete at a high level, it's different now.
yeah,
Now there's a different dynamic with that person. It's going to be probably a lot more personal,
yes.
and it might not be the best match for you anymore as
Yep,
far as a coach. You might want to look into getting a different coach because that person, you're with that person, you're dating that person now.
yep,
You might want to look at having a different coach
yep.
because now it's personal, right? It's changed. Um, and some people think, oh, that's great. I have my coach right here, 24/7, but mm, no, not
Yeah, like
always.
I said,
That's not
sometimes
always the
it's
best.
magical.
Yeah,
Sometimes
yeah,
it's
yeah.
it's so awesome together, and
Sometimes,
I
I mean,
see it.
you've seen it. I mean, I've seen coaches married. They were married, and
Hmm.
the guy,
I
his
mean, look
wife was
at
a pro
what's her
bodybuilder.
name? Sarah Valeas. Her husband's her coach, and
Yeah,
she's
yeah.
what, four-time Miss
Oh yeah,
Olympia.
no, they have them.
So,
Yeah,
I
they
mean,
have them.
magical, but yet you have the others that are just like, what the fuck just happened? Go
from my
Oh
ahead.
no.
experience. I'm not saying this is right, but just from my experience alone, if you train them and then date them, it usually doesn't work. But if you date them first and then train them, then it's been okay. That for me,
Right,
that's
that's what I
Okay.
said.
always
That's
All
what I
yeah.
right.
said.
All
Right,
right.
right. It's a little different than you're coaching them and
And
then
then you
you became
start
a
dating.
relationship.
Yeah,
It's different if you were dating them, you guys are in a relationship, and then you're like, hey, I'm going to coach
Wait,
you.
let me write
I
that
think
down.
that
Note
I
taken.
think
Nah.
that that can be different. Yes.
It's guys like when it starts happening, my attitude is okay, I'm around you all the time, so
Yes.
I'm fucking cracking down.
Yep.
We're getting this
Yes.
done.
Yeah.
Because there's no excuse, especially the last one we actually lived together. And so I was hard on her, but she did really good. But I saw everything she ate, I saw everything she did.
Did you get that? Oh my God, you're so mean. Shut up.
Well,
You're such a fucking asshole.
I can't remember. She knew why I was being like that, so I think it was okay. And she really wanted to do well too.
Good.
Mm,
But yeah, it's depending on how it starts is different. Like if I train them first and then start a date, it falls apart real quick.
mm,
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
I mean, I'm very harsh. I'm not here. A friendship is a byproduct of the coaching mentorship thing we're doing here,
Yeah.
and sometimes I don't say much at all. I don't explain myself. It just is. It's black or white. You either can
Yeah.
fulfill your obligation with me or not, and that's fine if you can't. So we're not here to make friends. I'm here to do a job, is to get you in your best condition
Right.
for you to step on stage.
There you go. And again, you're the coach, right? Even though you're dating them, you're the coach. And if they don't look the way they're supposed to, guess who's going to get blamed, right?
Yeah. And for the people I do help, Nora, I love you guys. That's probably why you guys are still around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's it. That's right. Yeah. So again, I don't know. I mean, those relationships could work. And maybe the relationship will last longer than the person's bodybuilding career, like
Yeah.
maybe that's it, you know what I mean? Like they just, I like this relationship better than I like competing. So I'm going to stop competing because
Mm-hmm.
I want to be in the relationship. And
Yeah.
maybe that might be the,
It might be,
the solution,
yeah, one
Yeah.
or the other,
Right.
or could be the both, right?
Or yeah,
The
exactly.
catalyst for both.
Yeah. So I agree with Jed though. It's probably like you're dating them and then you coach them might be a better way to go about it than coaching them and then turning into a relationship. I think that's a lot harder.
Yeah.
But not to say that it can't work, but just definitely that dynamic
It makes it a
makes it
little sticky.
makes it sticky, right? Because you guys had a relationship already that was a coach client relationship. It was different, right? And then now all of a sudden, okay, now I have to switch gears here and I'm still gonna coach you. It's just different, man. Like, yeah. But not try to tell you and be constructive, but like you don't get upset at me and take it personal because now I'm with you and you're like, oh, he doesn't like how I look. But it's like, no, it's not. I don't like how you look. You're not ready for the show. But then you're upset because I said something about your body, and then now you don't want to have sex with me for like a week because I said something about
You
your
think I'm
body
fat?
when I'm gonna completely want to have sex with you no matter what.
Right.
Has nothing to do with that. We're talking about you getting ready for the show, right?
Right.
But then you could have insecurities
Yeah.
now, right? And then it's just so that's why that whole dynamic is for the guy. I feel sorry for the if then this is another part. If it's if the girl is the one competing and the guy is the coach, or if it's a female coach too, whatever. I feel sorry for the person who's the coach who's with the female competitor.
Yeah, because there's so much personality and you
It's
have to
it's the
deal
female
with.
competitor dynamics.
Mhm. But that's true, right? You're gonna be watching, you're like, and then you guys want to have date nights. You better be packing your freaking meal prep
Right. Right.
on this
Yeah.
date night.
Yeah, yeah.
I've definitely sat in the car with the other and eaten before going into a movie and shit. I mean, I've done that. It's fine.
See,
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm kind of lenient, but at the still, I think I would be afraid of me coaching me if I was a client.
You're like, I don't want to coach myself.
I did
Mm.
for shows, but I had to. Yeah, that's the hardest part. I had to deal with me. You are your own worst critic. But if I was a separate entity or a person, and I came to whom I am as a coach,
Yeah.
I would be afraid of me,
Mm.
afraid of disappointing, afraid of letting me down, because I know how hard on myself I was.
Mhm. Yeah.
I think that's scarier when somebody says less. You're like, oh fuck, is she mad?
Hmm. It's funny. I've been thinking about this a lot. And it's interesting because there's this whole saying about just show up, right? Just
Yeah.
show up. And that goes for a lot of things, right? I mean, yeah, you see, he just did that
Yeah.
because, right, like, because the thing is, whatever you're doing, bodybuilding or whatever, sports, all this different stuff, like, what is, what's your purpose behind it, right? Like, what is your intention behind that? What are you trying to get from it, right? And then just showing up, right? Like, how many people just show up and they just look the same for years, right? Like, you have to put in a certain amount of work. You have to do certain things to get results, right?
Yep.
Because you can, from zero when you start, and to get to a certain level, you could do that without a whole lot of work, just because
Newbie
yeah,
gains.
you're gonna be new at it. Your body's gonna respond. Then there's that point where it's like, okay, now it takes work. Now you're gonna have to really think about things and really put the work in to
Hmm.
improve, right? And that could be for sports too, right? A lot of people will get to that, almost to that intermediate level in sports, and then they get stuck there. They kind of just stay there,
Yep.
right? Because they can't,
Progress
to
past
get
that
past that
threshold. Yep.
intermediate level, or even just to get to the, from the lower beginner or middle beginner level to the intermediate level, it's hard.
Yep.
Like, there's things you got to do, and it's not just a casual going once or twice a week to get there, you know and so I don't know, I put a lot of thought into that, like, like, what, how many, when you, especially when you have clients, how many people come in, and are they really trying, like, are they really trying to improve, or are they just coming in with the mentality of, I'm showing up, hey, I made it, I went there 3 days this week, like, how many people, and then they feel like that's a win, like,
Absolutely. So that goes with many different perspectives as well too. So the just show up, it depends on where you are in your life as well, where your life path and journey is taking you. For me, I was here yesterday talking with Jed, and I'm going through back problems, right?
yeah.
So Jed was like, "So what? You've been here talking so long, you're going to work out?" And I'm like, "Yeah, okay, fuck." I fucking Jed. I got through 20 minutes of a workout. He was like, "You done?" I'm like,
Your back's
"Yeah,
killing you,
my back's killing me. This is all I could do." He was
right?
like, "That's it?" I'm like, "Yeah." I packed up my shit and I was out of here.
Okay.
So for me to have shown up, I gave it my
That
best.
was a huge for
That
you, that
was
was huge.
huge. But however,
Hmm.
on this journey, if you're going to compete, of course, the caliber of just showing up needs to be a lot different from me marking down like, yeah, we got 20 minutes in today,
Yeah.
you know?
Yes. Yeah, yeah. And I think that, I mean, you can look at that through life, right? Overall, like, when you just show up, you just show up for your job, you just show up for your relationship, you just show, right?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
it goes to all that stuff, right? And your life, like your
Does your
marriage,
actions meet your goals is like
right?
the biggest thing as well too.
And you're just showing up, right?
Yeah,
And are you actually putting in the work, right? To make that
yeah.
good, make it good, make it a good relationship, or make it, make your performance good at your job or
Mm-hmm.
whatever, right? So I think that's, people get rewarded a lot for just showing up, but I kind of feel like, mm, you're better off maybe not showing up unless you really want to show up and do a good job, right?
Yeah, and that
Or to a certain extent.
so we talked about that as well too. As we aged, we not just getting old, but in the sport, like our performance level. When I could attest to this, in my 20s, I probably ran off of about 4.5 hours of sleep. And I did everything in those other 19 and a half hours in the day,
Hmm.
like every and anything I could squeeze in, including working out almost 7 days a week. If I wasn't lifting weights or at the boxing ring, I was doing road work, I was doing cardio, or I was surfing, I was doing something 7 days a week. I didn't know what recovery meant. But as progression and everything goes, the more I guess with time and age and everything, we tend to forget how much recovery we actually
Oh yeah.
really need. So just showing up. But what if you actually took today or a day as an active rest day so that you can show up 80% tomorrow instead of doing 40% today, and then your strength curve is probably a little bit more diminished from that 40% because you didn't get adequate amount of rest, down to
Yeah.
like 30, and then it just gets worse because you don't get that rest time in between. But hey, I'm hardcore because I'm showing up,
Right.
you know,
Right. Exactly. Like I don't miss workouts.
team no sleep.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm coming in here every day, but it's like, yeah, but how much effort, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting. Because I think you'd benefit more coming in, whatever you just say, 3 days a week and putting in, like 90% effort
Mm-hmm.
those 3 days a week as compared to somebody who's doing it 6 days a week and putting in 50%,
Yep.
right? Like I feel like that guy is doing the 90% 3 days a week is gonna I think they're gonna get more for sure.
I mean, yeah, I mean, at the end of the week, the return on investments, you
It's a lot higher.
see it bodybuilding.
Yeah.
You see it on stage. Like this is a dog and pony show. We're all show no sometimes go, but you're here to build muscle.
Mm,
However, you do that the best.
mm.
And from I don't know how long you guys prep people that 12 weeks out, 10 weeks out.
Yeah.
I mean, it shows when they step on stage.
Hmm. It does. It does. It shows up. You can't hide it. I mean, so
As a
you're not doing it
coach,
right.
when somebody is like, "Hey, I want you to train me. I'm considering doing this show." They have very basic foundation. Because you're a trainer. I mean, the it's post for opportunity. Yes, it's may or may not be a nice thing to people who don't look it from a business perspective, but I'm not gonna lie. I tell some of the people, you want to do a show, I want 1 year, 1 year like consistent training. Like you
Mm,
don't have foundation, you don't have muscle. I don't want you to step on stage. Like I don't care if you really want to do the show because you lost some weight. I mean,
right.
still a bodybuilding show, and they think it's a money grab, thinking like, oh, she just wants to lock me in for an off season so she can get paid. Like, how do you deal with people like that?
Mm,
Do you even have that problem?
yeah. Yeah. I don't think I really have that
Or
problem,
you
to
just
be
like, all right,
honest.
they want to compete, they don't have too much muscle, like whatever's, they want to
I
compete.
mean, kind of, like, and I tell them straight up at the beginning. I give them all the info, all the information, and I'm honest with them.
Yeah.
But if somebody is like really just they want to compete, I'm like, okay, just know. I mean, like, yeah, yeah, it takes time to build muscle, and if you don't have that much muscle, then it's just what it is. What it is. I
Yeah,
mean,
I
you're
try
not.
to explain to them like you better be okay with however whatever your standing is
Yeah,
at the end
yeah,
of the day.
yeah.
How
Because I
how
think
you
it's
place is how
interesting.
you place.
Well, some people think that all of a sudden they're gonna miracle grow, like they're gonna gain like 15 pounds of muscle and come in shredded and all this crazy stuff. And I'm just like, I don't know what you're thinking, but it's not doesn't work like that. Like, yeah, you can come in shredded, but you're not just all of a sudden gonna put 15 pounds of muscle on and all this. Like, no, no, you're actually getting smaller. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, but yeah, I think people just they see, right? They see the images on in social media or whatever, and they're just like, oh, I want to look like this person. I think I can. I have a good shape or whatever. It's like, yeah, you have a good shape, but you need to put more muscle on, and that takes time. So I am honest with them. I am usually honest. I try not to sugarcoat it. Like, yeah, you're gonna be jacked. Like I never do that.
I even tell them as well too. They're like, "What? 1 year, solid year?" I'm like, "Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Hey, here's my friends' numbers. Go train with
yep.
them if you want, or you can hire them." I mean,
I like to use examples though. I like to show people maybe pictures of people that I know. Like this person's been training for 3 years. Look, this person's been training for 5 years. Look, like this is how long they've been trained, and look at how they look. Like it takes time to get to this point.
mhm.
I like to show them that stuff, and then they're like, "Oh, wow! Oh, they've been training for how long? Like 5 years? Like, oh, wow! Like, yeah." And then maybe even show them before pictures. This is them when they're only training for a year. Like, look at the difference.
Natural,
Yeah, yeah. Like it takes a
enhanced.
lot. It takes a lot. It's not it's not overnight. Like 1 year is you're still a beginner. I mean, 1 year, I'd say you're probably a beginner for the first 3 years easily.
I think I was still a beginner my first 5 years.
Yeah, even then, yeah, depending, right? You could be, like I said, to get to like an intermediate level, it probably takes about 5 years
Yeah,
of lifting to get to an intermediate level.
consistent.
Yeah, consistent, and not just like intermediate level of physique, but just understanding your body, understanding how to lift, understanding how to feel the weight, like all these different things. I mean, it takes a while to to get that muscle mind connection and really understand how that all works together, right? It takes years, like
Yeah.
it does.
Do you
So,
have any, and this goes for the both of you guys as well, for the people out there who are interested in becoming personal trainers or a gym owner, um, do you guys, or independent like how you are, do you guys have any tips, tricks, traits, or message you want to leave the people? Don't do it.
no, I mean, well, I can tell you about a gym owner, and then Jed can talk to you about personal training.
Okay.
But I think gym ownership, yeah, you just gotta know, like, obviously, getting the right equipment is a big part of it to me. Finding the right equipment, that's a struggle to get it, depending on where you're at. Like
Ship to Hawaii.
here in
Oh,
Hawaii, it's hard. I mean, I was lucky I got a lot of used equipment, and it was already here on the island. And then the time that I started this gym, there was a lot of equipment being sold, and it was used. Nowadays, it's hard.
the
Nowadays,
military, DRMO.
military and just even like Craigslist back then,
Oh, yeah, yeah.
that was popular like before Facebook Marketplace. So yeah, so I was able to find a lot of stuff, but nowadays, oh, that's really tough. And used equipment now, if you buy it, especially if you buy it through the mainland, even and get it shipped, it's expensive. It's expensive. So that's going to be a huge overhead. That and then of course rent. You gotta know that those two things are going to be huge. And how I did it, which was I started small and I slowly built it. For me, I like that. I feel like that took a lot of the risk out of it.
Yeah,
Um, a lot of times people they have investors, they have a lot of money, they find a space and they
yeah,
dump equipment in there, like
yeah.
brand new, this one brand, or
Mm-hmm.
because it's better, it's easier that way. You
Mm-hmm.
can you can buy it all, you get a
Or
good
you can lease it
price,
all.
or lease
Yeah.
it, you get a good price on it, and it's a turnkey gym,
Yeah.
right?
Like Anytime Fitness. Yes.
But you know what it does do when you do that? It takes the personality out of it,
Yes.
right? Like
Yes.
these machines have been in different places, so there's personality
Or
to it.
personality of the gym,
Yeah,
with the machines that you do have. Yeah.
right. Yes. So I mean, I'm not knocking gyms that are like that. That's cool, but honestly, for me, it was fun finding things. It was
Really?
fun. Yeah, I had a good time like looking for equipment, piecing things together. Like that was really fun for me. I personally, I really enjoyed that. Maybe not everybody would like that. Me, I like doing that kind of stuff. So, and it took time. So it was cool, like looking, trying to find the next piece and, like I want this piece. Where can I find
Yeah.
it? And
I know that there are enthusiasts that do collect
oh,
machines
there
because
are
they're freaking awesome.
there are in the
Yeah.
mainland, there's a lot of
Hardcore
them.
enthusiasts.
There's guys out there that have like big warehouse and created like their own gym because they love collecting machines. It's kind
Yeah.
of crazy. They don't have it here, not here in Hawaii, but
Not yet.
yeah.
So as far as a business owner, do you think you should have kind of with the accessibility of YouTube or whatever? I mean, do you think you should have or could have like, self-taught yourself a little bit of business or like whatever? Or do you think that's necessary?
To start a gym, I don't think it's necessary. I think you have to have a basic understanding of how business works. Just I mean, you can get whatever business for dummies, probably if that's even a thing. Um, like a simple course and you could read it and honestly, I think you could be okay. But the big thing is, it's the risk, right? Like how much are you investing in it? How much are you willing to invest? How big is your overhead? Like those are the things like for me, because I was, like I said, I was able to start small. I could go slow and learn.
Yeah.
But if you're gonna go big early, you're gonna get a big space. There's a big investment
Mhm.
early. Well, you definitely
You
wanna
don't have the numbers membership yet to fill. Yeah.
right, and well, you definitely want to know something about business because that's going to be a lot of money. That's it's going to
Yeah.
cost you a lot of money just to run that
Yeah.
place.
So speaking of costing a lot of money to run the place, the one thing about being a personal or like a business owner,
Mm,
um, basically you're or even a trainer, you have to literally exchange your time for money. It's not
yeah,
anything passive. You got to be here. You got to open up, or you have like somebody like Jed to
yeah.
open up, but
Well,
you got to be here for the chunk of
if
the
you're running a
time.
gym, that is the advantage, right? If you're running a gym, you have enough members, you could hire people to run it, to be here, and you don't have to really be here, right? That's the advantage. As a personal trainer, if people want to train with you, well, you have to be there. So you have to train
Yeah.
them. You can do a business. There are personal trainers that have other trainers that work under them,
Yeah.
and they get a percentage of that trainer's money because they're feeding them clients. So you could do that too. But
As far as being a business owner though, um how I was saying you are exchanging your time for money. You
yeah,
do have to be here, especially in the infancy stage of your business.
probably.
So how long did it take for you to be like, okay, you know what? I trust this dude. The business is kind of self-sustaining. I can finally take a 2-week vacation and or something.
I mean, when I did take some trips here and there, I mean, it was within, I think I didn't go on any vacations or trips until I feel like it was about 4 years
Where
I
you
ran
could
it.
leave it under somebody
Yeah, I
else's
kind of
watch.
left it.
Okay.
And then I kind of had a little, I don't want to say bad experiences, but that person was a little bit unreliable. There was some issues, and we know who we're talking about. We know what I'm talking about. And so I was like, man, like, what's up? Like, again,
And I bet it was hard. You're probably away on your trip.
yeah.
You're
We were getting
getting your
phone calls
text
or
messages and phone
texts.
calls like,
Hey, is the gym open?
and you're like, fuck,
Yeah, I'm like, hey,
was
Mark,
that a
is the
right
gym open today? I'm
decision?
like, yeah, the gym's open. So and so's opening it. Oh man, you gotta call that person. And they're like, oh yeah, there was traffic, and
Oh,
all the excuses
excuses.
start
Yeah.
flying. Yeah, and the saying, excuses are useless.
Okay. So yeah,
They really are.
business perspective.
Nobody
I
wants to
mean,
hear it. Nobody
it's a
wants to hear
lot.
excuses.
If you guys want to take on opening your own gym, I mean, yeah,
Yeah, my biggest thing is if you can start it small, I would say that's the way to go. Start small, smaller investment, smaller space, and then build from there. Then it lowers your risk,
yeah.
right? So that's me. I mean, if you have a ton of money and you can, and you got investors, you just got money, hey, have at it,
Ball
man.
out.
You can, yeah, go for it. But if you're limited budget and stuff, then I would probably go small. Yeah.
Jed, from your perspective, as far as personal training, anybody who wants to become a personal trainer, you got any do's, don'ts?
First off, you got to be able to produce results. That's hands down.
First
You
starting
gotta
out though,
you
like,
gotta find your personality.
yeah,
I'm lucky. I've had customer service jobs since I was 16 years old, so
okay,
I have this ability of being able to say shit and get away with it, and that's helped me out a lot. When I do the corporate car salesman shit, it does not work for
yeah,
me
okay.
because I can't. I come off too fake. So I was being advised to do these things, and I was like, I'm not. It doesn't work. I got to do my thing, and that's just being myself without a little bit more appropriate, but and that seemed to bring people in. So everybody's got a personality. Everybody's got a certain type of people they mix with well, and everybody's got a certain expertise they're good at. So if you can find those things and then market yourself that way, you'll be fine. And just be honest with people. And if something doesn't feel right, don't do it. I've had people try to tell me to do stuff different. Um, for example, the 3 tip thing in the gym, and not knocking it because it works for people. But you see someone new in the gym, you go, you give them a tip, help them out.
Mm.
You do like 2 times, and then the third time they'll start asking you, or you offer training or whatever crap. And the first thing that came to my head was, if somebody kept doing that to me, I'd be fucking mad. Like, leave me alone. So, and that's why I was like, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to, people don't come in here to get solicited and get harassed. They come here to work out. Like,
Mm,
they see how I train, they see me with other people. So if they like what I'm doing, they'll come to me. And that's what's happened, you know? So yeah, it's just, I keep thinking, find your personality. That's going to help. You can't be a car salesman. It won't work. Not for long.
I don't purposefully do the soliciting thing, but if I see somebody, y- if it looks like you're gonna injure yourself, then I will. I'll be like, hey, let's try it this way. How did that feel? Or they're obviously doing it like wrong and they're not targeting and they're, trying their best. Yeah, here's a pointer. Or like, sorry guys that I did it to some of you coaches, but when you guys are posing up here, I see it from a judge's perspective, a coach's perspective, and a competitor's perspective. So if I could help tweak something that I see in posing, I try to like not look and just let the coach do their thing. But if they're struggling, obviously, they
mm,
can't get a person to produce, whatever that they're trying to pose, then I'm like, hey, try it like this. Okay, good,
yeah.
got it. Okay, later. Good day. But as far as myself, I'm not gonna lie. In my younger years, I thought I wanted to open a gym before.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and then I thought I wanted to be a personal trainer, and then life happened to me, and I don't know, I I don't think I could do it now. This is
Mm,
where life brought me now, and then
mhm,
having to, like I explained to you earlier, exchange my time for money. Once you become an investor, both of you guys are investors in other things outside of the gym.
mm,
Once you start making passive income, then you guys realize like, shit, I could make more passive income
yeah.
you know but back to the whole thing, yeah, I thought I wanted to open a gym before. I'm not saying that I won't. I'm not going to give you competition either. It's not going to be on this island, at least. um it's still a dream. I've actually thought of this from like pre-high school, like, wow, it'd be so cool if I had my own gym. But
Mm.
man, to put in the time, effort, and energy, that's a lot of dedication.
It is. It's a lot of time.
Hmm.
That's what I say. So, but I mean, you got to me. I just liked it, right? I actually enjoyed it. I think it's easy if you enjoy it. It's easy, right?
Maybe if I won like the mega bucks or my investments, went to the moon, I could have my own personal private gym and
Maybe,
just a key fob,
maybe
just of friends.
make
Hey,
it.
you want to work out my
Yeah.
gym? Here's a key
Oh,
fob.
there you go.
Yeah,
See, if you have your friends, yeah, no problem.
I
Huh.
think that'd be all. Like, I wouldn't need money. It's
Yeah.
just like my own personal.
Yeah,
And
that'd be nice. You just do it because you have this big
if
gym,
wishes
just
came
because you
true.
have friends, like, yeah, and you just have money. So,
No, I don't
like,
have friends
yeah.
though, so I'm just playing.
Well, you can make friends
Make
because you
friends,
have a cool gym.
and you got money now, so you
And
can
you got
make
money,
more.
so for sure you're gonna have friends. You're gonna have a lot more friends than you ever had.
Yeah. So with the contest season coming up, we're starting it up in
April.
n- 9 weeks out from
Yep.
now. Yeah.
Mm,
You guys got anybody coming up for the show
I
or
got
this
one.
year?
I got one for April.
April.
Yeah.
mm,
And then
wow.
the Kaikas after that in July, August-ish.
June isn't Aloha in July? Oh, Aloha September.
Aloha is September.
Okay.
Okay, because in
June,
summer,
July,
yeah,
around
yeah.
there.
And then the OCB as well too.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, I want to go to that one again.
Yeah, that was good. That was
yeah,
fun.
Where's it at
yeah.
this time?
They didn't
It's
announce.
not Croc
Yeah.
Center.
No, they didn't announce. I don't believe so. But yeah, there you go, guys. If you want more information in regards to personal training or opening up your own gym, don't ask me.
She was an interviewer today, so
Ask these
but
guys.
yeah, it's nice. I think it's nice having your own business, having being responsible for your own stuff. It's can be stressful at times, but it's also nice because like I said, I took away that one element of having to listen to somebody, right?
But there's some pride that comes with their own gym. There's some pride that comes with, being a personal trainer. Like,
Yeah,
oh, dude, I helped change their life. Like,
yeah,
So
yeah.
I
No,
can
there
see why you
is.
guys still do it.
There is. There is. And oh, and there is one other thing that's interesting, and I always thought that this was funny to me was like I thought, oh, when I have my own business, I never have to answer to anybody, but that's not true. There's always somebody you're gonna answer to, right? Like if you don't own the building, well, you're answering to pay your rent to that person. That person, you have to pay your rent to that person, right? Oh, you have to pay your electric bill. Oh, you have to pay taxes. Like, so no matter what, you always, at least for me, I always feel like, yeah, there's always somebody that I have to answer to, even now, right? I can run it the way I want everything, but I still got to pay those taxes, or I still got to make that rent payment. And if I don't make that rent payment, guess what happens?
Yep. Turn
I
off the
I gotta
lights.
I gotta go. Right.
Yep.
So is that person my boss? No. But does that person have a lot of power over me or over my business? Kind of.
Yeah.
Because yeah, if I fail to pay them, they can get me out of here. Then I'd have to find another place, right?
Yeah.
Or if I don't pay taxes, guess what? They're gonna come after me, right? Like so that part is interesting. So you're always you're always having to give money to somebody or answer to somebody. It
Yeah.
never it
Answer to
never
somebody.
goes away,
Yeah.
right?
Or even with personal training, I could see, yeah, you still have to answer to your
To your
clients.
client. No, you have to, right. You're the one training them, but you're still responding to them.
Yeah.
They're still like, not saying that they're the boss, but if you don't do a good job or if they're unhappy with your services, guess what? They'll just leave.
Yep.
And then now you no longer have that income.
Source of income. Yeah.
And you're like, oh, so you need to pay attention. You need to train them. You need to do your job, right? So always somebody. But that's your own business, but there's still somebody there, right? So
Jed, do you feel like as far as paper trail, numbers, facts, and figures, personal training, would it be good to have a little bit of a business background or have an understanding how to run your books?
I don't know.
Wing it too?
Yeah, I wing it too, but I mean, I've got my MBA, and that's helped me
Oh,
with learning how to advertise and run the business
mm.
better. So, but as far as crunching the numbers and shit, I'm not good at that.
Oh, last thing before we close it up. As far as getting your name recognition out there and advertising and so on and so forth, do you guys have a theory, philosophy, or um, word of mouth, or how do you guys get out there?
I mean, mine was word of mouth. And I would have clients and I would tell them, oh, hey, if you have a friend or do you know somebody who wants to come in and train, like tell them about it. I always found like if you can talk about your business to multiple people every day, even outside of the actual gym, you mention it, you
Yeah.
talk about it to people. It's very helpful. Just mentioning it, just bringing it up, going to the store or something, and I'm doing something, and somebody might say something to me, or I'll mention it. Like, oh yeah, hey, I own a gym. Like,
Hey,
oh,
you look
oh,
like
you own
you
a
work
gym,
out. You
or
look
oh,
great.
wow, yeah,
Come to
or
my gym.
but that happens a lot, right? I mean, it's like, wow, you're in great shape. Oh, well, thanks. I own a gym. Like,
Where do you
oh,
work out
okay,
at? Come check out my
right.
place. Yeah.
And I've gotten people from that. I've gotten a lot of people actually over the years from just that. From,
Cool.
hey, I own a gym. You should come check it out. Really, I will. Most of the time, probably 80% of the
I
time,
would
they're
say
not.
80%
They're
of the
not.
time.
But but you do get those people who do either call or they do actually stop by,
Yeah, the
or
average
they
is
actually
2
sign
out of
up.
10, right?
It's
80.
probably two out of 10, maybe. That's pretty good averages actually. So
So you don't go out there and try to like hand out flyers like, hey, IHF.
no, I never did that.
Oh,
I
okay.
was never a
Or
big
buy an
fan
ad
of
in
that.
midweek or some shit.
I never did that either. No. Yeah, I never did. I never did any of that. Well, I didn't have that much money starting out. Yeah.
Mm,
So I was like, I'm not trying to spend money on ads and
yeah, I
stuff.
get it.
I was like, if I can just tell people and then they can tell people and then maybe I'll get people to come in. I don't know. That's how I did it. So I was cheap at the beginning. I was
Okay.
just all my money was in my equipment. Like
Yeah.
really, I spent a lot of money on equipment. That's where most of it went to. So I don't want to say I was cheap. I was just cheap in certain areas.
Yeah,
Like I
pinch
spent money
pennies
on
here
equipment.
so that you could
That's
use it
right.
there.
Pinch pennies in one area so I could spend money on
No,
equipment. Like
that makes sense.
I bought really good equipment,
Yeah.
and that was, like I said before, that was for me. That was a huge part. Like I want to have great equipment
Mm-hmm.
for people, and that's where I put a lot of my energy into, right?
Yeah, and you can tell for those of you guys who had not been here yet. As far as yourself, Jed, how do you get yourself out there to let people know that you're a trainer, that you are
So a
prep
lot of ways,
coach?
word of mouth in Hawaii that works well. Yelp, the IHF page, my website, Instagram, just all types of means. My long distance started when my military clients PCSed out, and then they told their friends,
Oh,
and
that's
that's what got
cool.
the online started.
Mm,
Nice.
So if you train military and stuff, you might want to. That could be an option,
mm,
or any client that moves and wants to keep working with you, and then they tell their friends, and that helps out a lot. But I was also one of the first to really get on social media here on the island too. Like I don't even think the gyms had Instagrams. I already had one posting shit.
mhm,
So and that at that time it helped me out a lot.
mhm.
So there was times where you search Hawaii trainer and I'd be the first name that would come up.
Cool.
Yeah. Having
Yeah,
an IT background, I was able to jump on it before everybody else.
yeah.
See, I'm not that smart. I don't have a MBA. I don't have an IT background. I just, yeah, I got to marry somebody rich or win the mega bucks. I'm sorry, that's my only
There you go.
options.
There you go. There you go.
But is there any other closing statements you guys want to make before we get out and out of here?
No, I think that's it. I think maybe one last thing is, yeah, in order to be successful in business, whether it's personal training or gym owning, you have to be willing to take the risk. So there's going to be that risk,
Mm,
that uncertainty of, can I make it? Is it going to fail? Like what, you have to be willing to take that risk. And a lot of times you think you're not going to make it and you think you're just about to close shop. Like you're right there. Like, and it's true. You just got to push through that,
You know
because
what's funny? You say like the whole when people I get this a lot from my friends who have their own businesses and stuff. They're like, "Fuck, was that a mistake that I made going off on my own, leaving corporate America
yeah,
to do this thing on my own? What
right.
if I don't make it?" You don't have a choice. You gotta make
That
it.
no, exactly. Like
You have to make it work.
you force yourself to have to make it work, right? And because I think if you give yourself too many options when you're trying to run a business, it's going to be harder. Like you need to put your focus in that business and really just don't give you, like they say, don't have a plan B. Like I'm not saying don't have a plan B. Maybe it's good to have something there, but definitely don't rely on that.
Yeah.
Like know that plan A is the plan and I'm going to stick through it and push through it because yeah, it's going to be tough. Like it's going to be times you just want to duck out because you think it's not going to work. But a lot of times that's usually when you should keep going because you're
Yeah.
there.
I'm so happy you said that. Like right when you get to that hard spot
Yeah.
where you're pushed up against the wall or backed up against the ropes and you're thinking, fuck, oh my God, they're gonna
Mhm.
turn the lights off on me. I'm done.
Mhm.
That's when you pierce that veil, right?
Yeah. And there's always something that you can do, there's always things that you can do to improve. So when you're in that position, you've got to really think like, what am I not doing? What
Yeah.
can I do? And even just something little, it'll help. It'll help. And you just got to keep inching forward. And
That's what I like about like guys. You guys are creative. You're like, fuck, how do I survive? Instead of just like being so passive and giving up. I think it's
mm,
part of your guys' male nature to just figure shit out, and it comes instinctively.
yeah, yeah. And I and I just didn't want to work for nobody. I didn't want to, honestly, I was like, when there was times when I was struggling, I was like, I don't want a normal job. Like, I don't want to get a job. Like, so that drove me. That was
Yeah.
enough for me to go, okay, let's go. Let's hustle some more. Like, cause I was like, man, I don't want a normal job. But that comes from also years of having a job, right? Of doing that, working for somebody else. So I had that experience already, right? So it was a very powerful energy for me to be like, I don't want that anymore. You know what I mean? It would be different if, say, I had just never really had that. Then I might be like, this isn't working out. I'll just go get a job. It might be easier. But because I knew what was on the other side, I was like, man, I don't want a job.
It's always easier to get a job.
I think so. I mean, it's a lot less responsibility,
Yeah.
right? You just have to show up,
Yeah.
do your job, and you go home. With this, it's not just show up to your job. It's a 24/7 thing. Like it's going to be waiting for me the next day. I have to make numbers. I have to pay the rent. I have, if I don't have enough people coming in, I'm not going to cover. So there's all these things that are constantly going on, right? You work for somebody else. You're just showing up. What do I have to do today? Here's your task. You do it. You go.
Yep. Get paid every Friday. Thank you. Bye.
Yep. As long as you're doing whatever you're supposed to do, whatever tasks, that's it, and you're good. So, yeah, um, that's not bad. Maybe one day I'll just go back to doing that again. Who knows?
No, no. One day you're gonna
When I'm
compete at
retired, yeah.
Masters and get your pro card.
Oh my God, I know. I'm gonna be the over 60 dude. Hey, Dad, that's cool. Hey, whatever.
Hang it
If
up.
you're over 60, got a pro card, right on. 'Cause I still don't have one, so. But yeah, who knows?
Oh my God, it's gonna be the ongoing joke.
It will be. I'm not far from 60, geez.
Yeah.
Few more
Anything
years.
else, Jed?
Nope.
Well, thank you for joining us,
Alright.
everybody.
All right. Thanks, guys. Thanks for joining us. And we will see you next time on Paradise Pump. Aloha.